So I've got it laying on its side here. Today I stitched up the panels, stitched the wheel wells to the side of the tub, and so you can kind of, and this is on the side of course, you can kind of see that. Here's what the bottom looks like. I'm going to focus in on some details. First of all, the kickstand. See how this kickstand has a block next to it? That's because when I tried it without the block, they would turn and fall over. I'm a little bit, I kind of question whether this is actually going to work, but they're light and they're easy to work with. And then I've just got this block screwed down. It's not epoxied down, and so this one is only there to put the trailer hitch on. This one here, I was able to fit 2 blocks on either side, and those are epoxied in. Okay, so in between this piece and this piece, the bottom panel is screwed into the top of that. And then there's another panel that goes from this piece down to here. So I've got 2 layers of Coroplast on the bottom. You notice, you probably see it in the past video, but this piece of thin plywood is to stiffen the end. And then I've got these 1x2s on either side of the wheel well to stiffen that. And I also have blocks in here that I originally put in to spread the wheel well rails. So that's the bottom. Generally, I'm happy with it. So I tipped it up on the other side, and I heard some cracking while I was putting screws into the other side here, and you see it cracked around this knot. And I think there's a crack here. I don't think it goes, that's a crack that I fixed before. And then maybe, I don't think that's a crack, I think that's just manufacturing of the wood or cutting of the wood. So I'm probably going to reinforce from here to here with a piece of plywood. I'll have to cut that out. That was the biggest issue I had with this 1x2 method of construction. To be honest, I would put 2x2 rails. The cross beams can be 1x2s, but the long rails, the 4 long rails, I'd make those 2x2s. So here it is upright, fairly large. It gets down to 24 inches here, which is kind of narrow between the wheel wells. You can see that I basically stitched it up using zip ties all the way up, and same on this side, and then in the front of the wheel well. Here's what it looks like on the outside. And as far as stiffness goes, it's pretty good actually. I would say as good as can be expected. I'm pretty happy with it, and in the past I've built things out of Coroplast and they've lasted a long time. So just an explanation here, this is the tub, this is the lower part of the camper. There will be another piece, it'll fit like the top of a shoebox, and maybe will be larger than a shoebox, or a shoebox top. It'll probably be as large as what you see there, and then I'll be able to lift the back up, and it will give me about 3.5 feet of headroom in the back, but in the front the headroom you see there, which is about 22 inches. That's the way it's going to be. So here are the tools. Basically, I took this clamp and clamped the top up there, and then I made these skewers just by sharpening bicycle spokes, and I would basically push it where I wanted and push the spoke right through the coroplast. And I would do a couple of them so they would kind of hold it in place. I would usually have 3 skewers in at once, and then I would use the extra one to poke the hole and make it bigger if I couldn't fit the zip tie through. Here's a zip tie. It's a 4-inch zip tie. And that's it. That's what holds this thing together. Sometimes I had to use the pliers, but not often. Also, I would draw a line where I wanted to line up the zip tie stitches, and then I would make marks to get it roughly where I wanted it. Here you can see, I drew a line here and then marked off, I don't know, 4 inches. They're not exactly, because the distance that I was taking up wasn't dividable by 4 or 5. But 6 zip ties there, 5 there. I mean, I wasn't really that careful. 5 there. And there we go. That's it. That's today's work.